I always love it when I see clips of the BBC getting smacked down, and this time I found one from none other than Andrew Tate. Hey up everyone and welcome to Political Nerds. I'm Steph the Alter Nerd, your nerdy political guide from Washington DC to Westminster and beyond. In today's video I'm going to show you this clip of Andrew Tate smacking down the BBC and what it actually all means. Now do your own research, come to your own conclusions, and as a disclaimer, I'm not inciting hatred to anyone or a particular group, religion, etc. Now before I play this clip, I am very much aware that Andrew Tate is highly controversial. Now, whether you support him or not, that's not actually the thing to focus on here. What we are to focus on is the BBC treatment of him in this clip and his clapback. So let's go, shall we?
Andrew, why did you inflame tensions after the Southport attacks?
So the BBC, right off the bat, asks, why did you inflame tensions right after the Southport attacks? Wow. What a gaslighting question if I've ever heard of one. Very loaded as well, right, guys?
What are you talking about? Sorry? What's your name? What's your name?
So Andrew Tate's like, what are you talking about? What the deuce? And then he's asking, what's your name, mate? Where the hell are you coming from?
Quickly.
My name's Will, I'm from the BBC.
Ah, you're a nobody.
Yes, and yes. The BBC don't deserve an answer to that gaslighting question. As Andrew Tate turned round and says, so you're a nobody. BBC are nobodies at this point. The BBC, along with the rest of mainstream media, are diminishing. They are disappearing. They are losing. Why? Because more and more of you guys are coming onto the internet to actually get the real news. To actually get the news that is not part of the propaganda machine. BBC's freaking owned by the government. Come on. Like, we're to trust what the BBC says these days. I don't freaking think so. Now, it's absolutely astonishing, right? This BBC reporter is turning around and essentially saying, why did you inflame tensions right after the Southport attack? Now, first and foremost, it ain't just a Southport attack. It's the Southport terrorist attack, all right? But the BBC won't say that because they're still trying to downplay the terrorist aspect because their overlords in the government want them to downplay the terrorist aspects of it. That monster got sent down in part because of terrorist freaking charges. How was the Southport attack? Not a terrorist attack. Come on, it was. It really was. So first and foremost, the BBC, as ever, downplayed the Southport terrorist attack. And then secondly, are asking Andrew Tate, why did you inflame tensions right after the Southport terrorist attack? Gaslighting him twice. Downplaying the terrorist aspect of the attack, and secondly, attributing the inflammation of society from the terrorist attack in Southport to freaking Andrew Tate? I don't think so. If anything, Andrew Tate actually helped matters. So let me show you all what this all actually means now. So here, back in August 2024, Nigel Farage cited Andrew Tate as a source of questions about the Southport terrorist attacker. So Nigel Farage said he was referring to claims made by Andrew Tate when he asked whether the alleged Southport terrorist attacker, was known to security services. Now, bear in mind, okay, this was back in August, before the government was forced to admit that, yeah, this terrorist attacker in Southport was known to the security services. So he said his comments about the security services had been referring to posts by prominent folks with a big following, such as Andrew Tate falsely claiming that the suspect had arrived in the UK after the crossing the Channel in a small boat in 2016. So Mr. Farage told LBC, quote, there were some stories online from prominent folks with a big following, Andrew Tate, etc., suggesting that the man had crossed the English Channel in a boat in October 2023. I didn't believe any of it. I hadn't got a clue. He added, I asked a very simple question. Was this person known or not? So because of people like Andrew Tate, right, kind of proposing this notion that the Southport terrorist attacker had come over the English Channel in a boat in October 2023. Because Andrew Tate had mentioned that on the internet, that led Nigel Farage to turn round and actually ask a legitimate question. Was this terrorist attacker known to the security forces? Well, wouldn't you believe it? It turned out it was. The security service of Prevent. And he was flagged, 2-3 times? And each time, the Prevent security service turned around and said, nah, he's Gucci. Yeah, that Gucci, that this monster then perpetrated the Southport terrorist attack. Because of Andrew Tate saying at the time that he believed that the terrorist attacker had crossed the English Channel in a boat in October 2023. Because Andrew Tate had said that, that led Nigel Farage to ask the right question. Was this terrorist attacker known to the security services? Yeah, he was. He was in the end. We found out in the end that he was. And our security services let Britain down. And let the victims, child victims of the Southport terrorist attack down. Now, in regards to what Andrew Tate said, suggesting that this terrorist attacker had crossed the English Channel back in October 2023, turns out that Andrew Tate was wrong on that. But guess what? He admitted he was wrong. Andrew Tate admitted that he was wrong about details of the Southport terrorist attack in an interview with Piers Morgan, saying, that he falsely claimed that the terrorist attacker had arrived in the UK after crossing the Channel in a small boat, saying, quote, perhaps I was wrong about the fact he was an illegal immigrant. Yeah, he was wrong. And he admits he was wrong. However, the speculation as to whether he was an illegal immigrant or not, made by Andrew Tate and so many others, led Nigel Farage to actually ask the right question. Was this terrorist attacker from Southport known to the security services? And months later, we find out that, yeah, he was. To prevented shiz in the end. Because he was known to them 2-3 times. And all those times they were like, oh yeah, he's Gucci, let him go on. Yeah, Gucci to go on and commit such a horrific terrorist attack in Southport. And so going around full circle here, the BBC turning around and saying, asking Andrew Tate, what do you think to you inciting all the issues and the unrest after the Southport attack, this, that and the other? He didn't incite anything. He didn't. If anything, he said something that was false. He admitted in the end that it was false. He was like, yeah, perhaps I was wrong, fair enough. But silver lining, that false statement, that speculation led to Nigel Farage asking the right freaking question. Was he known to security services? But no, the BBC would lead you to believe, right, with that question, why did you inflame tensions after the Southport attacks? The BBC would like you to believe that little old Andrew Tate, just him on his own, inflamed all the tensions in the UK that gave rise to the summer protests, as I like to call them, of 2024. No. He admitted he was wrong in the end. But with what he said, it gave rise to Nigel Farage asking the right question in the end in that LBC interview. It's like the BBC and mainstream media try to turn around and say that Tommy Robinson caused the summer riots of 2024. Tommy Robinson didn't cause the summer riots. He didn't inflame them. He didn't encourage them. I watched all the videos that Tommy was putting out on Twitter during that period. He said the same thing time and time again. Do not riot. Do not be violent. You're just giving the establishment what they want then at that point. If you're going to protest, do it peacefully, do it legally. That was it. That's what he said. But mainstream media would have you to believe that Tommy Robinson somehow inflamed the riots, and so did Andrew Tate. No. The only entity, right, that caused the summer protests of 2024 is the freaking government. Because during the time, the government wasn't telling us anything. It was all left to speculation. A country in fear after such a horrific terrorist attack on freaking children. But no, the government has to blame a boogeyman. And if you remember, anyone that spoke out against the government, right, during that period and didn't toe the official narrative at the time of the Southport terrorist attacks, what were we all called again? Oh, yeah, far right. Far right. We all see through that BS, just like we see through the BS that the BBC is still peddling right now. Why did Andrew Tate inflame the tensions after the Southport attacks? He didn't inflame tensions at all. He didn't do that. And if they are going to ask that question, where's their proof? Guess what? They don't have any. Just like the government. They're the puppet of the government, trying to enforce the boogeyman of the far right. The far right is not as big as the government wants to make out. Anyone that speaks against the government is being called far right. Come the frick on. They don't know the meaning of the word. It's absolutely insane. If they had their way, they'd probably call me far right. I'd tell them to piss off. I'm not far right at all. But here is a wonderful example of the BBC trying to peddle government propaganda. Andrew Tate having none of it and smacking them down, saying in the end, you know what, you're nobody. And yeah, the BBC is a nobody because their influence is diminishing inch by inch, day by day. As mainstream media's influence is diminishing inch by inch, day by day. As more of you guys are coming online to actually get the real story of what the hell is actually going on in the UK. With that being said, if you appreciated this video and you want more, and believe me, of course, there's going to be more. You do not want to miss my next video. Then make sure you subscribe to join our alternate tribe here at Political Nerds. Like, share, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theories, whatever. What do you think to Andrew Tate's smackdown to the BBC? Do you think the BBC are nobodies now? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I appreciate all your faces. And until next time, you guys, laters.